Hello everybody! Welcome back to Jersey Yogalicious. My name is Kat and I'd like to welcome everybody back. I've been gone for a little while, took a little trip to South America, posted it yesterday for you guys on Jersey Yogalicious, a little video from our travel to 5 countries and 2 islands, and it was a whirlwind adventure. Got to learn a lot of neat things about what's going on in a third world country that's not so third world. I describe it briefly for you yesterday in the post, stating that it's like if you've ever walked through New York City and you see all the different walks of life, people rushing to and from, doing different things, different cultures. Here, we pretty much had the Colombian culture influenced to us in Cartagena. But just the vibe, there's something always going. So to me, it felt like being in a big city, Chicago, New York, what have you. It had that big vibe of busy, whether you were the guy who sold trinkets on the street, a lot of unlicensed vendors and licensed vendors, or whether you were the guy rushing off in the suit and the tie. It had everything there. So pretty much that's how I described it. But also the warmth from the vibe, the warmth of the people. The people are just in love with family, in love with each other, and they're very interested to speak to Americans. We were the only American, I would say, the only American tourists on the Pullmantar when we went on the cruise, which left out of Cartagena. And then we went to the ABC Islands, and Aruba, Curacao, Bonaire, and then we went to Panama, to Cologne, and then we went back to Cartagena, where we stayed for a while longer. And so you'll see that in the video, but just basically what I took away from there was the big vibe of the energy of the Colombian people. They're energetic, they're full of life, they enjoy family, they enjoy time together, they enjoy their fiesta. They enjoy every aspect of their life, and nothing is overlooked. Everything has a value to them. And so that's what I took away from that trip. And I do recommend, if you haven't left the United States, that you do it. Go to Central America, then go to South America, or go to South America and then Central America. Try something different. Get out of your comfort zone. Go to Europe. Try a different language. Immerse yourself in the culture. If you're lucky enough, maybe go to India. Haven't made it yet, on my list. But try to immerse yourself. Get out of your comfort zone. And that will also help to awaken things inside of you that you didn't know. Each time I leave here and travel, I bring back something with me. When I lived in the islands, when I lived in Key West, I brought back so much from me from that 10 months that I immersed myself in a different way of living. I bring back the colors, and I express it in my art and in my work, in the things that I do. And I find myself remembering certain things that I learned on my travels and applying them to my life, applying them in my conversation with others, sharing. And so in order for us to share, sometimes if we step out and learn something and bring it back, then we have more to give to ourselves, to others, and enlighten and enrich each other's lives. And after all, that's truly what it's all about. So I do tell you to try to travel. And if your health doesn't allow you, if your finances don't allow you, try to learn about it through others. There's the internet. There's so much that you can learn just from watching others. And I try to bring that back and share that with you. So we're going to continue in the Awakening series, because I was reading this and it's just powerful in some of the messages and some of the things that I'm taking away from it. So we're going to go over this. Meditation trains us to return to simplicity by being aware of the essentials and letting go of what's not needed. It's an invaluable skill for our complex, busy lives, where each of us has a lot we could learn to let go of. So, not your possessions, but your inner stuff. And so we want to learn how to act and how to take what we learned and manifest it into our lives. Um, but while we're doing that, it's important that we don't put too much pressure on ourselves. To reach that level of awareness takes time. And so we have to understand that it's going to take us time to grow inside. But the first step is in wanting to grow, into wanting to better ourselves, to be better. And when we say that I'm going to do better or I want to do better, that's good. That's an intention that we're setting. Now manifest that. Now put it into action. Show me, show me. Tell yourself, show me, show yourself, and then show others around you. Uh, the first thing that you want to do is you want to notice what you're feeling. Don't ever bury what you're feeling inside. Just notice each feeling as it arises. And when it does, acknowledge it. Whether you're angry. Now, in the book it says, call it by its name: anger, pride, jealousy, covetousness, lustful, desire, irritation, or annoyance. So, if I'm angry, I can acknowledge I'm angry. But I'm not going to let it fizzle in me. I'm going to let it go from there. I have to recognize the feeling for what it is. Simply a feeling that's arising in me. Don't get angry at yourself for the feeling, but don't let it take over and carry you away. That is the hardest part, I have to say. And I'm petting Mr. Mimi here. He's joining us on the floor. Use discriminating awareness to reflect on what you're feeling. Analyze and examine the feeling. Are you having a knee-jerk reaction? Are your feelings justified? Perhaps it is a reasonable response. Or maybe it's not. Maybe you just flew off the handle. Behave in an intentional and wise manner. That's also top 10 of one of the hardest things to do. Because if you're agitated, if you're emotional, then you have to put yourself in check. So you have to learn to make a wise decision about how to react when you're feeling like that at the moment. Remember that no matter how strong your feeling is, nothing remains the same. This is key. Nothing remains the same. The feeling will change and another will take its place. A wise person once told me an old saying, this too shall pass. And at that moment, I wasn't feeling that this situation in my life was going to pass. And it didn't pass for quite a while. It was an upheaval. But yes, it did pass, and my life continued as your life continues when you hit a bump. So this too shall pass is one of my favorite internal sayings. So with this in mind, take the long view. Use spiritual intelligence and an understanding of karma to make an appropriate choice about how to act. Recently, I was experiencing something, and I told myself, karma. And I am such a strong believer in karma that I knew what had happened in my life was because of a karmic event. It was something I had put in place before, and now I was having the karmic event from it. When we handle things mindfully, we become emotionally stable, trustworthy, and reliable. Those are really important characteristics. Emotionally stable, that's number one. Trustworthy. People want to be able to trust you. They need to trust you. If they can't trust you, there's no basis for a relationship. And reliable. People need to know that they can count on you. Your family, your support system, your internally, you need to be able to count on yourself. You need to be able to trust in yourself. It all starts here. That's the bottom line. Through the power of insight, our responses become more balanced and more in line with what is really happening. We're training ourselves to relinquish illusions, fantasies, and distractions that confuse our lives. We're learning to let go. We have to let go of the old habits. So ask yourself this basic question when things arise. Ask yourself, is this the real me? And if your behavior isn't, put yourself in check and stop and change. And wisdom and love come into the play here because you say to yourself, what would a wise man do? I have a little card on my desk and it says such a thing. What would a wise person do in this situation? Wisdom and love. What would wisdom and love say about this situation? Whatever I'm spewing out of my mouth at this moment. What would a wise person say? And maybe what I just said needs to not be said. So that you have to think before you speak. And not just blurt out. It's up to us to try to make it easier and happier for others and for ourselves as well, so that we may all have what we need to aspire to. So to encourage you, I have to be positive, and I have to think at a different level to be encouraging to you, to appreciate you, and for you to feel encouragement and confident. Letting go of expectations of perfection. This also, if you have any controlling aspects in your life, if you have to be in control of situations and you want them to be perfect, well, life is not perfect by any means, and people are not perfect. We are not. It's never easy to face the fact that nothing is perfect. We rail against our significant others when they reveal flaws that we would rather not see. Well, we need to let go of that behavior. Seekers often have a tendency to over-idealize, and therefore we can be particularly prone to unrealistic expectations. We can, for example, be so deeply attached to our fantasies of the Prince and Prince Charming dreams that we undermine all of our relationships and demands based on expectations that cannot possibly be fulfilled. We are often so filled with fantasies about what should be that we fail to acknowledge or appreciate what actually is, what actually can be. I consider myself a realist. I'm a dreamer too. I'm a Pisces, okay? So I am a dreamer, but I'm also, as much as I'm a dreamer, I'm a realist, and sometimes to a fault. But that comes from my training, and when I'm not attached to the outcome or the expectation, and I'm more of a realist, and I stay open to possibility. My glass is half full, but I'm open to whatever. If it dumps out, it dumps out. I won't be disappointed because I don't approach life with an expectation level. It is as I see it, and it can be whatever it manifests into, whatever is meant to be at that moment, whatever grace is bestowed upon us in our life. We have to learn to accept where we are and that it's happening for a reason, even if we're so deep in it we don't understand, or maybe we want for something different, but you're there for a reason. And so just acknowledge that much and you can get through to the next level. Another way in which we become attached to our views, opinions, and ideas about everything, like how life should be. If we get attached to thinking this, then our spiritual path is really cut down. We have to come from a different position. We have to be higher thinking, in which we're not attached to anything. And a lot of students, they struggle with this because they say, well, I can't do this because I love my wife and I'm attached to her, but I cannot not be attached to her. Well, those kind of thoughts come from the view that you shouldn't be attached, but that's not what we're saying. We're saying that there's love, but it's not attached. It's not clingy and graspy. The empty mind is quite capable of caring about others and loving in the pure sense of love. But any attachment will always distort that. If you love someone and then you start grasping, things will get complicated. When you're clingy, then what you love causes you pain. And that's really hard to understand. You love your children, but if you become attached to them, you have all kinds of ideas about what they should do and who they should be and what you want them to be. But as we let go of the attachment, we find that our natural way of relating is love. And we find we're able to allow our children to be as they are rather than having fixed ideas of what we want them to be. And that, my friends, is Very important. Very important. The Tibetan Book of Dead reminds us that we create our own situation. The spectators that loom large on the horizon are put there mainly by our own thinking in our minds. Our attitudes, opinions, and expectations are overlaid upon reality. They shape our world and they get in our way. Nothing, get this, nothing is perfect. But then again, nothing is all bad either. There is an ancient Zen poem known as Trust in the Heart Sutra. And one of my favorite lines from it is, "Do not seek for truth, merely cease to cherish your own ideas and opinions." Two things are not what they seem to be, nor are they otherwise. This reminds us we can't be so invested in what we think and expect, but be open to the moment. When we have no expectations, there are no disappointments. If we make disappointments, then the person we hope to be doesn't show up, so we get disappointed because we create this environment of expectation. The reality is, it is what it is, forever free and untouched by our projections, as well as our hopes and anxieties. In short, there's a certain amount of joy to be found even in a muddy dog. So we have to keep ourselves clearly thinking, and we have to keep our expectations at a minimum, and we need to learn the law of non-attachment so that we can love deeper. Not so we can so much let go. It's not asking you to let go of love. It's asking you to love on a higher level. And it takes a strong person to get there. And as a yogi, that's your next step. So I want you to ponder on that. We're going to come back and go over the next part of the book, and we'll talk about a little bit more about that. And I'm going to put up some interesting stuff for you to review as we finish up on this particular book, and then we're going to go into another book starting in January. If you have any questions, I have been getting some questions. Not so many now. I did it a few weeks ago, but like I said, I took a break, so feel free to email me. You can reach me at notaryonfastwheels@hotmail.com. You can see me on the Kathleen Wendorf YouTube channel. Also find my books on Amazon, and you can also reach out to me via Facebook. Just look for Kathleen Wendorf, Wendorf. If you're not one of my friends, please go ahead and sign up on there, and I will also friend you. So I just want to say to everybody, on the second night of Hanukkah, as you know, my husband is Jewish and I am Catholic, so we have Christmaka. And tonight is our second night of Hanukkah, so we will light our candles and say our prayers. And I just want to say a special shout out to all my Hanukkah friends, and God bless. Have a great night, and we will talk to you soon. And please bookmark us at jerseyyogalicious.wordpress.com. Bye, everybody. Enjoy.